Steph Houghton's book is being released, and her quotes are kind of all over, dominating the news at the moment. Some people have had some not too constructive things to say. So just wondering, both of you, about when she said that the England situation could have been handled much differently. Chloe, coming to you first, because obviously we know Steph is the legend she is and kind of everything that she's done for the game. What are your kind of thoughts on what she's saying, what Serena said, kind of the whole situation?
Yeah, I mean, Steph, yeah, she's a legend. And she's also a genuinely lovely person. She's can't say high enough of her. Yeah, I guess that sort of situation, you know, different sides will say sort of different things, and you expect certain things, and so yeah, I think all of us sort of knew at sort of time that she wasn't probably going to feature as much anymore. And yeah, I can see why she's upset about the way it was handled. But I mean, it's a tough thing to handle. But when a new manager comes in, they want a sort of new slate or whatever. And obviously, that's what Serena's done. Done it well, but yeah, I can see why she's upset.
It's hard because when someone's been at that level for so long and such a big part of the squad, it's a shame that she wasn't maybe given the same treatment as kind of Jill Scott was, where she didn't really play that much, but she was still part of the team. She was still that personality. She was still that experience, but she could then still come on in key moments. Because Paul, I want to come to you, just because one of the big things that a lot of people are taking out of context is her just essentially saying, I just wanted that closure. Like, I just wanted that conversation with Serena for her to say, look, we're going in a different direction. You're not part of my plans, but, thank you for everything. But that would never happen because the goalposts kept changing. Serena kept saying, yeah, get to this point, then we'll talk. Yeah, Paul, what are your thoughts on this one?
I am going to sound like the bad guy here.
Ooh, okay. Do I need popcorn? Do I need rotten tomatoes to throw at you?
And the thing with legacies of any player is all careers come to an end, and when they come to an end, you leave gracefully. And we've seen players do that, and we've seen players not do that. And at this point, Steph Houghton should probably go gently into that goodnight as far as talking about this is concerned. Because, Steph, you weren't getting picked. Like, brutally, you weren't getting picked. And nobody is owed anything in football. They in a perfect world they should be. And in a perfect world it would be lovely. And she perhaps thinks she deserves, and other people perhaps think that she deserved it because of the incredible things she's done for the women's game in general, because of her legacy. But the brutal truth is, nobody deserves it. Her career could have ended. Her career could have ended in a second with an ACL injury.
Yeah.
And she wouldn't have got that closure. She would have just been told, "Now, sorry, you're done." Players' careers end every day with ACL injuries. Players' careers end every day for whatever reason, and they don't get that closure. They just get left out of squads. Katie Zaylor was just gone and been left out of squads. Football's a business, and players get discarded. And she wasn't owed anything. She was given every possible chance, and it didn't work out. And sorry, Steph, but Knackersard's over there, and literally, it's that brutal. And professional sport is that brutal. And she would be aware of that as a professional sports person. And now, and yes, at the time, at the time, the interviews she was doing at the time were very self-serving. And it's left a bit of a bitter taste for me from her, because it's like, Steph, you don't need to do this. You don't need to keep bringing it up. You don't need to keep washing the dirty laundry for this in public. Have the conversation with Serena and say, listen, I thought this was handled badly. Have the conversation with the FA in private and say, I thought this was handled badly. Doing it through the media is, yeah. And I would say, and for the record, I would say exactly the same if it was the men's players, because media is littered with examples of male players who will not retire gracefully, as it were, and take snipes and take words at managers and in the media, and that's their right to do it. But also, I wonder if she's considered what impression that might give to people.
What of her?
Of her. It sounds trite to say this, but it's almost tarnishing a legacy of an incredible footballer, an incredible human being who's done so much. And if her last act for England is to publicly bitch about management, then
I think so. Kind of why I disagree with you thoroughly, but respectfully, of course, is because I think I've been in those situations where, like with jobs or with like with things, and things kind of come to an end, and you've done everything in your power to get to that certain place, and it's someone else's decision that's taken everything out of your hands. And it's, for her, she was injured, wasn't she, for the Euros, and like she came back from that injury, and she knew, and she said, I genuinely thought I had a chance. And I think that's the bit. It's the fact that Serena didn't at all say, allegedly, we weren't there, there's no chance, like, you're not being selected, you're not coming. So Steph might have thought, and I think, Emma put her there, maybe deep down she might have had an inkling that probably I won't be, but if I put myself in that best situation, then I've put myself up for selection. I've got myself there, I've trained, I've worked, I've done everything. Not saying that she deserved it any more than anyone else, but she put herself openly in that position to be selected, because she didn't have to do that strenuously with her injury. She could have just taken her time with it. She could have, because she said about sacrificing time with kind of friends, family, that kind of thing. And exactly what Sophie said, we've even seen in Serena's press conferences of her expectations, what they are, and they keep shifting. So, and that's just for, us as, the general public watching. So yeah, if you think you've got a chance when really you haven't, I think that's the bit that I kind of resonate with, when people kind of string you on, for want of a better word, thinking that you've got this chance. But as Matthew said there, sport can be the most demanding industry in the world, and you're expected to perform at a high level consistently. If you don't, you get rinsed out and left to dry, and that's absolutely it. And I'd hate for this to tarnish such a fantastic career. And I don't know how much is her bringing it up, how much is the media kind of promoting our book as well. So it might feel like it's all being dragged up again, but maybe it's a media storm for the press.
I mean, if she wanted to leave on her own terms, retire. If you don't think you're going to make it, like Emma says, why are you she's going for it. If you go for something, you know, if you reach for something and don't get it, you're going to be disappointed. And she knew that, and she went for it. And for now to turn around and say, you know, if she just said, I really wanted to be selected, I didn't make it, it was gutting. I don't think anyone, I don't think I or anybody else who is being maybe critical of her would have any problem with that. Because everyone can empathise with absolutely working your ass off for something and still not getting it. You know, everyone has suffered that. But a lot of people, particularly with the English and the British mentality as well, is you deal with it. You don't then
kind of just accept it. Don't talk about it. It's done. Like that kind of thing.
If you say that's crap and I felt awful, fair enough. But and I feel like I deserve this. No, you didn't. Nobody deserves anything in sport. People earn stuff, and it can be an opinion that people deserve stuff. But
so could she have earned it then?
You know, subjectively, yeah, she probably did. But shit happens. Sport is a shit industry. It's a brutal one. She didn't get it. Thousands of people every day, you know, don't get stuff they want.
Yeah, I think it's more the fact that it seems like there was never that conversation to just say sorry, no. And I think that's the thing, because I know Farrah Williams has talked about it as well, hasn't she? Kind of when what's his face came in, and she wasn't part of his plans, and she was cast aside, but she said, you know, openly, it was probably my attitude. He probably didn't like us, you know, experienced player, didn't want to get involved, and then that was it. And she was like, you know, if I knew that was my last England moment, you know, I would have maybe, you know, took it differently. I would have, you know, really held on to that moment a bit longer. But yeah, it's
kind
a
of
really,
like she didn't know because she got injured. So you can't use the if it had been she was just dropped, you know, if she'd been healthy the whole time and was just dropped and there was no conversation and it was just left out the squad, the way players are for internationals all the time, you kind of go, okay, she probably deserved a sorry, Steph, this is going to be your last England game probably, and she deserved in the pre-tournament friendly, she deserved some sort of maybe putting in the long squad on the long list, given a chance in the pre-tournament friendly, but privately told, yeah, Steph, this is you know, you're not coming to Australia and New Zealand. So
yeah, I think I think it's that closure that she really wanted.
But we're gonna give you a proper send off.
Yeah, which I'm glad she got, by the way. Like that honorary, she got to lead them out at Wembley one last time. Like that was a nice touch. I like that. So it did come to a better end. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what she says in her book, of course, which is coming out very, very shortly.